Thanks. Big show today. We had a thriller last night, guys. In Denver, we got to talk a little Vikings Broncos. Taylor Lewan is back on the show. We'll dish out some Atta boys. Who do you think deserves some love on this Monday? Let us know at Up and Adam Show, and away we go. Josh Dobbs, great story, great player. Everybody rooting for him. Probably a little less so on the Broncos side, but we are off on a Monday, guys. I'm home in my studio because it's Thanksgiving week, and that's just the way it goes. How you guys feeling? Who do you want to shout out? Those attaboys, they're meaningful. They matter. We've got NFL players shouting out other players to let us know who deserves an attaboy for their Sunday performance. And, of course, big game tonight. Maybe a Super Bowl preview, so we'll dig into that with Taylor Lewan as well. But the Broncos sort of last night storm back, and they do their thing against this red-hot Vikings. Great story, not just a great story, whatever you make of it, 21-20. And let's start with the winners, because they are now winners of 4 straight, okay? 4 straight wins for this squad. And if you look at the standings, they're now just a game back of both Houston and Pittsburgh for an AFC wildcard spot. Still a crowded field there in the AFC, but the Broncos are truly still alive and right in the thick of it. They had a 1-5 start that was brutal. It really has been an incredible turnaround from this group, and it hasn't been easy. All of the games, they're not exactly blowing anybody out, right? They're super close. They're compelling. A lot of them in prime time, different situations, I'm going to say Sean Payton and company, they keep getting it done with the game on the line. The offense had its struggles at points last night. Russell did lead his league-leading 4th game-winning drive of the year, and he was asked about the game. He was asked about how he's been able to lead these sort of comebacks week in, week out, and here's what he had to say.
For me, it's all about the teammates. Those guys making great plays. It's, Samanje making a big first down the past several weeks. It's the line, give me enough time to make the decisions, and we're checking the play and everybody being poised. It's guys making key, I think about Jerry Jeudy making a key 3rd down last game against the Bills, right over the ball, deep over the ball, that kept the drive alive. It's just those things. It's guys like Courtland Sutton being the best version of Courtland Sutton. He's dominant, and he's playing like he's been playing like all-pro, Pro Bowl player, and that's who he is. But that's who he is every day. So it's just being us. It's just being the best version of us when the game's on the line and having that clutch gene.
So there's a lot of things I like about that clip. It's why I wanted to show it to you guys this morning, because you have to love and give credit to Russell Wilson for handing out credit to everyone, the offensive line and everything going right, and Jerry Jeudy from a week ago, a callback. So that's nice to see out of a quarterback, but I'm also glad that he singled out a player who I think does not get enough love, and that's Courtland Sutton. This guy has been clutch as all clutchness can be all year round, and he took it to another level last night. First, it was this one-handed diving catch on 4th down. Unbelievable. This keeps the 4th drive, this keeps everything alive, guys. And then his ability to go up and moss the entire Viking secondary for the game-winning score, bang. He's already set a career high with 8 touchdown catches this season. 8! And he's one back of Tyreek Hill for the league lead right now, even with all the positive vibes as we check this out. And just a great guy. We got to talk to him. We were in Denver. Great vibe, great energy. I'm still waiting for the big Russell Wilson game. I would say that. You heard Collinsworth talk about it a little bit last night. You want to throw the ball downfield. And let Russ cook is what the whole thing was, right? Like, you want to see consistency. You want to see Russell letting it rip. I don't know what's going on. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the big Russell game. I thought we might see it. It's hard to imagine the way things are going. You're in playoff contention. What can you do? Coming off their bye week, I thought Russell was going to come out sort of on fire. It hasn't happened. I'd like to see that go down, because there is a legit chance that we find this team in the playoffs. And as of this morning, they're plus 310 to get in over on FanDuel Sportsbook. And we checked leading into the show, of course, but I think the only way that kind of goes down is if the offense picks it up a little more, and it starts and ends with Russell Wilson. As much as he's ditching out love to everybody else, and as much as everybody else deserves, it needs to be like the good he should get, but also the bad, like some of the inconsistency that we've seen. So as cool as the comebacks have been, I'm not sure this is like sustainable. They've got a tough matchup next week. They got the Browns. this Vikings run game had their way. Like this run defense with what's going on in Denver, they need to be much better. And it's the feistiest defense in the National Football. It's the best defense in the National Football League, in my opinion. And so they got to get a win over Cleveland. A tough win, not a great matchup for them. Just looking at it from a surface level on a Monday, if they want to try and push for that wild card spot. As for the Vikings, my concern level is pretty much zero for them after this loss, guys. They're still 2 games up in the win column over every other team in the NFC wildcard race. I mean, the next game out, and the next team out rather, on that list is the 4-6 Packers, who looked a little better yesterday, got themselves a win, that's fine. But the turnovers kind of sunk them last night. They still played really well. You can't take anything away from these oh my gosh, this Vikings fan base just wants it so bad, and they deserve it. They're a tortured fan base. I'd be shocked if they're not playing on Wild Card Weekend. I think everybody needs to not worry. And so does FanDuel Sportsbook, by the way. They're still minus 235 to get into the playoffs. So clearly the books think it's happening too, if that means something to you. All right, we want to go to Cleveland. Cleveland, the Week 12 matchup for those Broncos that we talked about. But, I mean, the scary part about them is that they're gritty. I said this, no one wants to face the Browns. No team in the NFL is excited about it, okay? And they beat out the Steelers, and it's exactly what you expected to see out of both sides. Dominant defense, not a ton of big plays, and a late push by the Steelers. The Steelers who only turned it on in the fourth quarter. The Browns were able to fight off that Kenny Pickett, Mike Tomlin fourth quarter magic, and they got it done. And that's really how the Steelers have been successful at all. This one has a big impact on the standings that you're looking at, guys. Not only do the Browns stay within a half game of the Ravens for the AFC North lead, they built a 2-game little cushion, little space. They're comfortable. They're on the love sack. They're fine. As you look at the other teams in the playoff picture, sort of trying to look in. The Steelers, on the other hand, they fall to the 7th seed, guys. They're a half game up on the Bills for the final wild card spot, and they have 3 other teams within a game of them as well. And while we knew the defenses were going to do their thing in this one, as I talked about earlier, the unknown here was the rookie. The rookie, we showed you his press conference, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR. And as expected, little gaffes, whatever, little struggles at points because it's a tough Steelers defense. He out-picketed Kenny Pickett when the game was on the line. Let's be honest. We know, we've said it, it's been highlighted, everybody knows it. Kenny Pickett in fourth quarter turns it on, likes his back in a corner, whatever. But like, the fourth quarter glow-up belonged to DTR in this one. On the final drive to set up Cleveland's game-winning field goal, Dorian went 4 for 4 for 39 yards. You love to see it. You can't put a rookie in a bigger spot and then watch him rise to the occasion so well. And here he is, because we like listening to him after the game when he was asked if he had any doubts, hesitation, whatever, going into that final drive.
On the team's mind, they believed in me, they trusted in me, I trusted my teammates. The biggest thing I was telling myself all game was just stay disciplined, taking one play at a time. There's times in that game where, if it was week 4, I would have forced it, and we had a tip pick, another tip pick, or whatever it was. Like I said, it's going to be night and day when I get out there. I've been working my tail off, and I'm just glad my teammates were there with me.
I love that he has a butterfly on his necklace. Hamilton, check that out. I don't think all the questions about the offense are answered on that drive alone, but it was definitely something to build off of and to look and feel confident about going forward, because the defense is playing the way that it's playing, okay? And there's no stop in sight for that. This is not a team anybody wants to see at any point in the season, let alone in the playoffs, as you heard Jason Garrett say on the Sunday night broadcast. Like, they run well and they have a great defense. Like, what else makes noise in the playoffs? So we'll see if they can keep it going. Like I said, they got the Broncos on the docket. Let's also, and whatever you guys want to talk about, let us know at Up and Adam Show. I want to talk about what happened in the Bay. Niners take down the Bucks. It was 27-14. Now they're sitting there at 7-3. Here's George Kittle with a Niners reporter talking about Brock Purdy's near perfect performance.
Some people just say Brock's a system QB. Great players around him. The thing about Brock is he elevates the great players around him to make us look a lot better. He's doing a fantastic job. He's taking control of this offense. We have a dense playbook, and he shows up every single day and works his tail off to be as consistent and as great as he possibly be. So it's on him, and he's doing a great job.
Good job by Lindsay there with George Kittle. Love to see it. Second straight week, guys, that the Niners have looked awesome. They've looked like the team that is going to and maybe will win the Super Bowl. And they look healthy, right? And George Kittle talked about it right there. Brock Purdy's doing some pretty incredible things. After all the nonsense we had to listen to when the banged-up Niners hit that 3-game skid, Brock put together the best performance of his career yesterday. And that's saying a lot because he's had some great games, some great wins. And honestly, it might have been the best performance we've seen from a Niners quarterback, period. Okay, that's what I'm saying. At least as far as the regular season is concerned. Look at this. Don't kill me. Stats. Relax. Purdy joins Joe Montana, and Steve Young is the only quarterbacks in Niners history to put up a perfect passer rating in a single game. And he did it while throwing for more yards than either of them. Purdy's now the NFL's highest-rated passer this year. And by the way, no one's even close. Now, Kyle Shanahan's been calling plays in this league for 16 years, and the only quarterback who's done anything like what Brock is doing was the 2016 year by a Super Bowl-bound Falcons team led by Matt Ryan, who won the MVP that year. So it's clearly not just the system. It doesn't happen every day, and that is why you can connect the dots, and it's okay. It's okay to give the kid, some credit. And this Niners team, I think like having some adversity was helpful. And now they're back at the height of their power. And the rest of the league should be on notice. The Niners are getting second best odds to win the NFC plus 220. They're basically even with Philly. Philly's plus 210 right now. So Philly, of course, plays tonight against those Chiefs. And we've got to talk about that. And speaking of that, we've got something awesome for tonight over at FanDuel Sportsbook. You know, with the big games, you just want to have fun and say like, okay, let's boost this baby. So it's Chiefs, Eagles. And let me show you what it is. We're going yards, baby. A.J. Brown putting up 50-plus receiving. He's hit that in 7 straight games, by the way. Travis Kelce, 40-plus receiving yards. He's done that in 6 of 7, by the way. And you know what's going on with the Taylor Swiftiness in the building. Parents meeting parents, all that. He's going to put on a show. And Jalen Hurts to rush for 25-plus yards. He's averaging 35 per game on the year. Those odds were minus 105. They're getting boosted to plus 150 for your FanDuel Sportsbook entertainment responsible gaming pleasure. All right, from Taylor Swift to Taylor Lewan, here's what to expect in the Chiefs-Eagles game and so much more. We're going to talk a little Browns. We're going to talk, we got lots to talk about. We're going to talk Brandon Staley. Hot seat. Yeah, I can talk to Hammer. Hey, Hams.
Hey, what's up?
How's it going? I'm excited for this game tonight.
Good. How are you? I know this is as good as it gets.
I love Brandon Staley. This full screen that we have is quite an indictment.
Yeah, it's not going well right now. It was a weird performance from the Chargers yesterday. I mean, we talked about it a little bit as the game was going on. It seemed like they brought the wrong shoes up to Lambeau. Austin Eckler slipping all over the place.
I know. What is that? That was crazy.
It really was. And they had so many chances. I thought they were going to pull it out. But credit to the Packers, too. They kept making plays. What is that, pizza?
It's so good. Jalapenos and all.
I was just sitting on your desk. Like.
So good.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. You got Atta boys. What game are we not hitting?
Mm-hmm. We're hitting all of them. Richard wants to ask you if there's pineapple on the pizza. He knows how much you love talking about that.
I think cold pizza is the best breakfast food.
It is pretty
I
good.
really do. It's the perfect breakfast food with anything on it. Okay. All right. No pancakes. Pancakes require action. Mixing. Mm-mm. Oh my gosh. I will order the pizza to have the cold pizza in the morning. That's true. That's really it. I don't think I'm alone. Yeah.
Was he just sitting out that whole time?
Just a second ago. No. It's free. It's cold. It's cold in my house. I don't know how to turn do I turn the heat on when it's cold? I don't even know. I don't even know if I know how to turn
the scorpion.
The heat on.
Maybe he noticed.
Yeah. I don't think I know how to turn the heat on in this house. Hammy, where's Thanksgiving?
At my mom's house. My brother's coming in from Indiana. They should be in this afternoon. So super excited about that.
Oh my gosh, you get to hang out with little ones, little turkey.
We got to bring this group together and do it consistently, okay? And that's where it's at. So you can stop asking that question, okay? I'm going to be calling the defenses, okay? So we're clear. So you don't have to ask that again.
Ooh, what do we make of the Chargers? We don't like coach firings, but we love clear answers, and I'm sure that's what we're going to get from our guy who joins us every Monday, 3-time Pro Bowl left tackle for the Tennessee Titans, co-host of the Bustin' with the Boys podcast, Taylor Lewan, not looking pretty in sunny California.
Yeah, tough slim there, and just a conflicted man standing at the podium, trying to take accountability, but also not doing the best job of not putting it all on himself.
All right, let's dig into it here because it's a big story, right? That's Brandon Staley. They lose to the Packers. I mean, the defense that he spearheads let Jordan Love have a day, like 300 plus by a lot. They're 4-6. His last 12 games, I mean, this is what's going on Twitter. The last 12 games are like, you know, Chargers, lose by 2, lose by 3 in overtime. I thought we had the tweet. Sorry, there it is. Yeah. Beat Aiden O'Connell, beat Kirk Cousins, lose by 14. Like, all these things, right? It's not pretty, like we're saying. Every time I try talking about coaching changes with you so far this season, you blow it off. You say, don't do it. It's the NFL. You can't do that. So how close to the breaking point are we with Staley in LA?
I think, obviously it's a disappointing season for the Chargers. They're like probably one of the most underperforming teams in the NFL, just with the record and all that. And they have so many stars on defense, but they're giving up points to a guy like Jordan Love, who started strong and then not so great until this past week. So I don't know. Usually you can get a good temperature off the fans. If you go on Twitter and you see the Chargers and they're sick of him, they don't want him, they want him out of here. Usually that the ownership does listen to the fans in that way. And I think, it could be close.
You see the reaction from Staley. It's obviously very feisty, knows what's up. But how much of the loss is on the players? Because you watch the game and you have the Keenan Allen, the Quentin Johnson. That drop by Quentin Johnson was crazy, Taylor.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the players have to be the ones that play the game. So those guys, I think it's important for when the coach is at the podium and you've lost the game to take accountability. Hey, we got to be better. We got to scheme it up better. We got to do a better job for making calls. And then let the players and the leaders like Keenan Allen have the opportunity to also stand at the podium and say, hey, I can't make those drops. I'm a 10,000-yard receiver. I've done all this. I've been at the Chargers for this long. I need to be better. But I had this turbulent airplane flight attendant getting nervous vibe from Staley that kind of makes me a little uncomfortable, that he kind of feels the fire and he's sitting in the hot seat. And usually those things, if you need to be able to show poise and confidence in times of adversity for not only yourself but for the players, and it wasn't the best look for my man there, and hopefully the players know something I don't.
Got it. So if you're a player, you're thinking, I didn't think of it that way, that you want him to sort of make sure everything's cool under pressure. Because I would think if I was a player and I liked my coach and, he was getting all that grief, I would feel bad if I was, or Austin Eckler slipping and sliding all over the place. Like, I'd be like, that's on me, coach. Like, I want to play harder for him. Yeah,
but there's also there's levels of accountability. Like, as a coach, if you're the head coach of an NFL football team, you essentially got to sit there and be like, this is on me. Any chance you have to point it at you is always the best move. And then Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, those type of guys that are true pros, they're going to take the time and not point fingers everywhere else. They're going to point fingers at themselves if they're slipping and dropping balls and all that. Like, you have to allow everybody to kind of take turns for the accountability, and then you feel the foundation, the team's stronger that way. And now Staley, as a player, you see him as you're overanalyzing it. You see him fighting the fight as in putting it on the players. Hey, our players got to play better, which is true. Like, the guys got to play better. You can't have those drops. But he's kind of easing into it, and then he's like, "Oh, but it's on me, 100%." And then you see the play calling, those tough questions that the reporters are getting. They're inevitably just trying to get, the clickbait. If he's like, "Stop asking the question." Once you see his temperature rising in that way, I personally feel that it's like, okay, he understands maybe the situation he's in where he could be jobless.
But they're 4-6. They're underperforming. They have talent. Do you think they should, now, do you think they should make the change?
You know, Kay, you have to come on the show. You ask me these types of questions. I come on here, and what do? I dance around it. Because I don't want to see the guy get fired. He's got a family. He's got kids. I got fired from the Titans. It's tough. It's tough to sit here and say, yeah, he should get fired. If you are not doing your job, if you're not doing your job, you need to find someone that's going to do their job. And if the ownership thinks they've seen enough, then they should fire him. They should, because that's what this league is. If you have to perform, it's a not for long league. It's a short memory league. They don't care what you've done in the past. They only care what you're doing now.
Well, use your own experience to answer the question, because I think, a good way to dance around it is, what's the better solution? Do you have a Pierce on your roster that's going to get guys running through a door? I don't know. You went through a midseason coaching change. You were with Ken Wisenhunt. You were 1-6. That could not have been fun. But then you have Mike Mularkey. They bring him in as the interim, and you went, 2-6? So what was that experience? Can you use that experience to help with what they should do here?
I think it depends on. It's all about those players and how they feel about their coach. For me personally, I loved Ken. It was a tough deal, but you could see the downfalls of Ken in the way that he's like, this is my offense. The offense is built to pick up blitzes. It's built to pick up this. And we have a 7th-round quarterback playing, a rookie for the first time. He doesn't have that understanding. There was no adapting. It's an adapt or die league. And so, from my experience, there's nothing I can really go off of there. I would say with Staley, it's they got to make that decision and figure it out. For me, I know it's tough for me to come on here and you want me to say whether they should fire him or not, but it's like,
no, I just think
if the season isn't going well.
I like him a lot. But I also have seen Dameon Pierce brought a spark. I've seen it with Dan Campbell. I've seen it with Rich Bisaccia. I've seen it with Antonio Pierce. Sorry, I've seen it with Jeff Saturday on one game. Like, it can a spark happen, and you'd want it to happen now.
As a fan of the team, if you're really thinking of it from an organizational standpoint, where it's like you have a lot of tools, but you're in a place where, are you going to make the playoffs? Probably not. Then why not just say, hey, we'll stick it out with this guy for the rest of the year. We'll make a change on the Black Friday or the Black Monday that everybody calls it at the end of when the playoffs start. And then you have that great draft pick, because you should be, as ownership and at the higher up, be thinking forward at all times, not just the near future. Are they do they have the talent to turn it around and make, become a team? Absolutely. But, you see with these teams, you brought up Bisaccia. He did a great job with the Raiders when they made the fire and he was in there, but he didn't inevitably stay. Mike Mularkey, he comes in for we win one game against the Saints, and then you don't really win another game for the rest of the year. Yeah. And so you see quick sparks, but it usually is a fast burning flame that breaks off quickly. AP at the Raiders, you see a guy like that, that's a true leader. That's a true leader of men who is really getting the Raiders on the right track. Everybody says they were going to get murdered by the Dolphins, and they didn't win the game, but they put up fight, and they were handling the time of possession. And he's showing that this team, he's getting them to trend in the right direction, where you can look at a guy like that and be like, that's a perfect example of why you should make the change. Now, where I have issues with is sitting there and not knowing the assistant coaches in the Chargers, where it's like, okay, that guy, we know that guy's the dude. Max Crosby knew that AP was a guy that everybody in the locker room respected. So when he came in, you can see the energy. You see Devontae Adams after the first game sitting there getting hyped up as their coaches, like, they get a win when he had one catch for 34 yards. Like, that's the kind of energy you need from those guys. I don't know enough about the Chargers and what they have from an assistant coach standpoint, if they can hit that.
Is Kellen Moore that guy?
Could be, yeah. Could be that guy. It depends on the respect level he has with the players. Like, the thing that is so amazing with AP is that he's a guy that's done it. He's a guy that's played in the league. He's a guy that has that respect and resembles what Raider Nation is all about. Kellen Moore, I don't know. I don't know him personally. I don't. He's called plays in the past and he's done a good job. But like, what's his energy with the players? Is when you make a change and players seem to respond, it's when you're a good locker room guy with those players. And those guys are like, we want to win for this guy. We want to show that this guy can take the next step. Yeah.
We were on our call at 5:30 thinking about, like, when you make the change, and I said Taylor's answer to this is going to be, what's the solution? What's the solution going to be? And we started thinking about names, and Kellen Moore was the only one that we came up with, even just because he's had head coaching interviews. So he's been at least in the mix with that he could potentially, but when people are asking themselves these questions, get rid of him, fire him, like, what's your solution? What are you fixing? And is it short-term Band-Aid a la a win with Malarkey, or is it a miserable 2-6? You're looking for a new guy anyway. But great call by you. Let's move on to the Brock Purdy of it all, because what an insane game. And we laid it out. Like, he had one of the better games in Niners quarterback history, which is insane. 333 through the air, 3 touchdowns, perfect passer rating. He's the highest rating passer in the NFL. Like, what did you make of this performance?
It's incredible. And you know what? This is where I had to take a big opportunity and say, I've eaten my words. I've taken the words of another man and I brought it onto the show as, hey, I heard Brock Purdy's not the guy. And I am more than happy to say that he was completely wrong about that situation. The guy, it's very impressive to see him do it. I can't tell you. I can't tell you the guy. No, that's 101. I can't be giving out my sources. It would be a terrible thing to do.
All right.
But you see George Kittle. You see, bad source. You see Kittle and post game, the way he's talking about Brock Purdy, how it's like, people say he's a system quarterback. People say that he's elevated about the players around him, but he actually elevates us. I fully believe George Kittle is talking to me in that situation. I 100% believe that. Christian McCaffrey was on our show last week, and he's calling me TMZ Taylor and all that. The boys are checking me in this situation because they truly believe in the guy. So I think I'm eating my words, boys. I'm eating my words. I think the Niners are a real deal. I said at the beginning of the year, I said they're going to be a real deal, but I really think, like, Brock, to have 3 games like that and then come out these last 2 games and do what he did. Yeah, it's incredible. It's awesome. And I it's impressive. It's very impressive.
How much love should he be getting? Because, like, are we talking impressive, great, like, or are we talking MVP love? Because even after that performance last night, a beautiful performance, FanDuel has Brock with the 6th best odds to win MVP. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good studs on there. I think you put him above Dak Prescott. I think Tua, he's thrown for the most yards in the league this year, but you got to maybe put him above that. Lamar Jackson's always a scary individual because he's just got an it factor that no one else can really do. But the top 2 guys at the top 2 spots, I believe, should be there, even if Patrick Mahomes isn't having the exact numbers he has. And Jalen Hurts, they're part of the 2 best, top 3 teams put together, and they're contenders. And so I think that's why those guys sit on top. But Brock Purdy should be higher up on that list for sure. Yeah,
no Trent Williams on that list. Disappointing to see that our campaigning for him didn't do a number for the guys who, with the abacuses, who do their thing with algorithms over on FanDuel Sportsbook. Did you have any thoughts on last night's game? I mean, Russell Wilson, 4 game-winning drives, but sort of an icky game. Pulled it out. What'd you make of it?
I pulled it out that Sean Payton is starting to become the guy that we all believed and loved him for at the Saints. Like, I think when it first started, it was abysmal. We said, the danger witch of Russell Wilson is dead. He's dead. Everything's, but he's shown, new life and new youth. And you're seeing the structure and the culture that Sean Payton instills, coming to life in Denver. So I think it's special. I think Josh Dobbs continues to be special. I know he had an interception, but I think it was teams that are better than people think they are, kind of duking it out. It can get a little sloppy at times, but I'm becoming a fan of Sean Payton. I'm becoming a fan of the Denver Broncos. The way they'll be able to be resilient and work through the whole process.
I still need that Russell Wilson game. Let's take a look at the wild card as it shakes out right now, and let's see what kind of noise they can make. I need to see, a little consistency on offense with the Russell Wilson takeover game, because he's not throwing downfield very much. Do you think the Broncos, out of these guys, are the most dangerous, sort of like fringy playoff team right now?
No, I don't. I think the Browns, I think the Texans, and I think the Bills are those 3 teams that are going to be truly vying for that spot towards the end and that wild card round. I think they made improvement. They look better, but I just think, the Bills seems like they have new light, new juice after they fired their OC last week, as we just kind of talked about with the Chargers.
There we go.
So we'll see if that continues. They got studs there. I think even though Stroud didn't have his best game, he still pulls out a win, and he's playing at a level that rookies just don't play at right now. And he's proving that the Houston Texans can really make the playoffs, which I never thought in a million years that happened. And then Cleveland, even though, Deshaun's out for the season and was it DTR? He's getting emotional after the game. That's the team I'd put in third place out of those three just because of the quarterback situation. But their defense is going to be the team that really that unit's going to keep them in contention of making to that wild card spot.
So then I ask you, what you just said is so true on all levels. What's your hesitation with Denver?
I just think
it's Russ.
They're in a tough division. Yeah, it is. It's Russ. I just don't think. I think he's gotten older, and I think the thing that has caused him to be so successful is that backyard, run around, get out of scramble, and just rip it downfield. And he's showing he doesn't have the legs for it right now. He's not as fast as he used to be. He's not dissecting as much as he used to be. So I just think he's slowed down in a way that is tough for me to go, okay, I believe in the Broncos making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I'm very curious about Russell and his future. His future in the league, his future in Denver, his future at the starting quarterback. I'm interested.
I wonder what the structure of his contract is, because if he's making as much money as Denver signed him for, and we're both saying this, and it's both kind of a consensus that, Russ isn't the Russ he used to be when he was at the Seahawks. Who's going to trade for him? Who's going to take him? You brought me into that. But if he's not,
I roped you in. I got.
Yeah.
I just hold on. Time out. What I wanted to do, I wanted you to get to Russell, but I don't want to feed you Russell. So I said, let's show him the other AFC wildcard teams. He's going to say he likes the quarterbacks, and the second he says that he trusts the Cleveland quarterback, I'm going to get him to talk about how he doesn't trust Russell. And you did. You did good.
I appreciate that. I'll take it. You know what? You know what's difficult in the first year of having takes on football? It's hard because you sit there and you're like, the boys.
Why?
Because you play and you know the guys, and you have the boys in the 49ers. When I'm talking about Brock Purdy, call you and you're like, yo, dude, what are you trying to do? Why are you trying to come at our guy like that? And it's like, I remember being in the locker room and guys were getting, media was coming at our guys, and it's like, yo, who the hell do these guys think they are? So now I sit behind this camera without breaking a sweat in months and months, and it's like, yeah, this guy's good, this guy's not, and it's a difficult transition for sure.
What have you learned about it so far? So we're like 10 weeks in. Is it? Do you feel like is it better to just be honest, or is it case by case, or how are you managing it? It can't be easy.
Honesty is always the best policy. It's jumping to conclusions that the media loves, and it's not you. It's just the world we live in, where it's like, we want an answer. It's been 2 weeks in the season. Hey, Joe Burrow, his calf is hurt. So are they dead? And it's like, I don't think so. But also, I can see why people think that. And so I have to get into more of a, less of a gray area and more of like writing an opinion and figuring it out, which essentially is what happened with Brock Purdy. But then you have the opportunity to say, hey, you know what, I was wrong about that.
Yeah, and you did. See, I could have said, and I had that thought this morning because the original question to you was, hey, you said this about Brock. Why? And I said, no, I bet you if we just ask Taylor about Brock, he'll take the opportunity to say that he was that source wasn't right. I also didn't need to, I could have come on and be like, you were wrong, Taylor. You were which we didn't do. But that's part of the chemistry. That's part of the drive. You're killing it, and I think it's been fun to watch. And you not wanting to have an opinion or having to deal with the reaction of the crazy media making assumptions. Let's get into the Ryan Tannehill of this all. You got his name plastered on your bus back there. I don't know if you're sending a message or whatever, but I think we both can agree that he needs to get out of Tennessee before the Watson injury. You said he'd fit perfectly in the Browns offense before the Burrow injury. I said I wanted him to go to the Bengals. And I wasn't wrong. That would have been nice to have him as backup there. I saw the free Harbaugh shirts last weekend. What do we need to do to start the free Tannehill campaign?
I think it becomes one of those things with Ryan is does he want to leave or does he want to ride this thing out? That's really the question you kind of got to ask. And if he's in the media last week saying, no, he hasn't asked to be released or anything like that, there's a level of being a team guy. That's like, oh, I want to ride it out with my boys. But if it's the best thing for him, and if it's what he wants, then you got to do it. I think if Tannehill asked for a release, I think the Titans would respect that and release him. But put yourself in the Titans' shoes. Is you're having a tough time protecting Will Levis. You're not with Malik. You've seen enough of a sample size to say, okay, he's probably not going to be the guy for us in the future. So with Tannehill, it's like that is a nice cushion to have, an insurance policy in that situation. So I believe the Titans want to keep him, but for the best thing for Tannehill to get back out there, make some more money, the best thing for Tannehill would to be released and have an opportunity to go to the Browns, like we've talked about. The Browns would be the best spot for him. There's tools, they have a good run game, they run a similar offense. So I think that would be a great fit for him.
See, we agree on him leaving, but we maintain the same positions. You want him to go to Cleveland. I say go to the Bengals. They can get back, they can get to the playoffs with what they have surrounding him. If Tannehill went to Cincinnati, I'd love to see that. All right, tonight we've got Super Bowl rematch. Big game, of course. Eagles taking on the Chiefs. If it wasn't already the biggest game of the year, reports that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's parents are set to meet each other for the first time. Would you want your significant other's parents meeting each other, like your parents, their parents, at the biggest game of the season? What do you make of this?
I'd want to be there. I want to be there to, figure it all out, because I'm sure there's some quirks that Travis has or Taylor has about their families where they're like, I really hope they don't come off this way, because you can do that with your parents. And so I'm sure Travis will be like, man, I hope mom's handling herself well. She did really well in that Chunky's commercial, but I hope she does well with Taylor Swift's parents. It's going to be a unique thing. It's going to be a unique thing for sure. I think Travis is going to go off in that game. I saw the FanDuel parlay that you put up. I think that thing might be an absolute lock. I think Travis Kelce also will have multiple touchdowns, more than 40 yards as well. But I think, dude, the Taylor Swift thing, I was so couldn't care less about the situation. It's like, this is a guy's personal relationship. Obviously, one of the biggest stars in the world, and I love Travis. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of mine, and I love him. Seeing him in Argentina and her walk off the stage, and I'm looking at my phone, just kind of smiling to myself, look at this young love. It's beautiful. And so I hope they go the distance, baby.
I hope they will.
I hope they get married. I hope they get married. I hope they have kids.
Yeah. I think they get married. I'm so curious about where they get married, what that looks like, but I think it'll be soon. I mean, they're donating auction items together, in Kansas City. There's Taylor Swift signed ticket stubs or whatever. They're already married. They're already married, and I love that you celebrate love. It's beautiful.
And
it's a beautiful thing, and you should go off.
The NFL has done a better job of not being so overly aggressive about selling Taylor Swift too. The beginning, it was kind of gross. Hey, NFL, you got to calm down. Take her off the backdrop. Stop showing her 24/7. And then we found a good groove. NFL's found a good groove to monetize the situation while also keeping respect towards the game.
Last one for you very quickly. I know the biggest game of the weekend in your heart is not this Eagles-Chiefs game. It's the Ohio State taking on the Wolverines. We have Dante Whitner's on our show, okay? Tomorrow. You played against each other quite a bit. So I need you to tell Whitner what's about to go down this weekend. We'll play it for him.
Big Whit, I got to be honest with you, brother. If you guys keep working hard, if the Ohio State program keeps working hard, you guys will be back someday, but that's not this year. Michigan is essentially creating the greatest movie, the greatest 30 for 30 anyone will ever see. The adversity, the allegations, people are coming at them left and right. And what's going to happen? They're going to dominate Ohio State yet again, like they have the last 2 years. They're going to go to the college football playoff, and they're going to win the entire national championship. And everyone's going to give them an asterisk, but they're going to give double birds to the world and keep it moving, brother. So good luck. Your guys are definitely going to need it.
Taylor, we appreciate you for joining the show, for everything, and for the amazing takes. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving, Kay.
You're my favorite turkey. That was so formal. Happy Thanksgiving, Kay. And we'll be back. Plenty more action from Week 11 to break down. It's Thanksgiving week. Big games, playoff implications. We got you set. Go play my parlay. You heard Taylor over at FanDuel Sportsbook. He's great. I like when he talked Richard about not wanting to, about how hard it is. It was great. Yeah. I'll keep eating my pizza. Mushroom and jalapenos. That's it. Thin crust. Domino's, though. Went on the Domino's website. Yeah, there's no good pizza in California. I don't download apps, but I use the web browser. Quality product. I've never had LA pizza. I've never had a good LA pizza ever. By the way, all pizza is great. Like that's my take. That's my real take. There's not bad pizza. I will eat all pizza. But if I'm like gonna pay like $30 for a pizza in LA, like I would never do that. Mother roast good. They might deliver on like caviar. I don't know. But that's like yeah, you're paying $40 for a pizza. I bet you those pizzas don't travel well either. What was it? What was the scene like? Like by the bar? No, I always sit by the bar there. Yeah. Oh, no. That's where the scene is, I feel like. It's a very pretty place. He's got the new place. It's Evan Funke's place, right? Let's do it. Time for some Atta boys. This is where we dish out some love. There's players who deserve a little more spotlight, a little more gravitas for their performance, and we've got to start in Dallas with Bland and what he's doing, which is nothing like his last name's, nothing but bland. It is spicy, it is sizzling, it is a jalapeno pepper on a cold pizza that I just ate for breakfast this morning, and the Cowboys lost maybe the best playmaking DB in the league when Trayvon Diggs went down in September, and Bland, he just picked up the torch and he ran with it. Monster pick six to help seal Dallas's win over the Panthers. Hey, Marcus Williams, what do you think of this?
Attaboy, there you go.
That's not the only reason I want to shout him out here. That play also put him in the record books. Take a look. Fourth pick six of the year for Bland, which everybody knows. It's all over Twitter. We're giving him his love. It ties him for the most in a single season in NFL history. He's the first player to do it since Eagles corner Eric Allen back in 1993. Still 7 games left to try to break that, and he might. That ball is finding him on the field. All right, number 2, as far as attaboys are concerned, we have to talk about what Saquon Barkley did yesterday, okay? This season is a spiraling. The offense is a struggling. And Tommy DeVito is at quarterback. He puts his entire team on his back in Washington to get the Giants the win. Saquon was like, I got you. 140 total yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. DeVito! I mean, Daniel Jones, did you love to see this? Daniel, what do you think?
I said, attaboy.
Attaboy! Great teammate, Daniel Jones. He'll be on the show. When is Daniel coming on the show? Tomorrow. Daniel Jones will be on the show tomorrow, guys. How about that? But there's a little sizzle, little spice there. I mean, that was a beautiful ball. Saquon gets it. Best output of the season. And while Giants fans may be more worried about what this does for their draft pick, and I understand the concern, appreciate the greatness you've got to witness with this guy. He's playing on the franchise tag. You don't know how much longer he's going to be around, quite frankly, so soak it in. He's about as special as it gets as a human, as a player, as an athlete. So I've loved seeing him in a big spot, and I loved seeing I'm sort of like letting it soak in every chance I get to watch Saquon in a Giants uniform. Finally, Packers wide receiver Jayden Reed, okay? Yes, we talked about him last week. He was in my DF Yes lineup, by the way. There you go. And a hat tip to Hamilton and Eric for putting him on my map, but that's not the reason we're talking about him here. He's getting an attaboy on Up and Adams here because he's done something that no Packers receiver has ever done before in that win over the Chargers. Reed finished the game with 46 rushing yards and this touchdown, okay? Great. 46 receiving yards, and he becomes the first receiver in Packers history to lead the team in rushing in a game. Is that crazy? You know Devin Hester has to appreciate the versatility even from a Packer. Devin, what do you think?
That boy, that's my guy right there. Yes, sir.
Packers lost Packers lost Aaron Jones. That wasn't fun to see. Hated that. Rookie running back Emmanuel Wilson in this one went down. A.J. Dillon, he struggled to get going. So it was Reed's 3 carries that led the way for this Green Bay game. So love to see that little positivity sent in the direction of Milwaukee, where Eric is currently. We should get Eric on the show live from Milwaukee. All right, we had a thriller between Lions and the Bears. We're going to hit that one. We're going to get you set for Eagles and Chiefs tonight. I do want Hammer here. Hey, Ham.
Hello. How's it going?
Good. Here's what we put up. Taylor's main hesitation with the Broncos, Russell Wilson. That makes me laugh. It makes me laugh. I haven't said, I go, what's stopping them? And I go, Russell Wilson?
Yeah. It was interesting to hear him talk about that, though, that thought process, coming off the field and having to talk critically about these guys that were in that brotherhood.
I know he's texting me about it, right? He's texting me about it right now. I told him I like to have fun with it. That's the truth. I like to have fun with his journey.
It is cool. It's cool to see, and it's cool that he's so transparent about it too.
Yeah, which is what people love, and that's all. It's all good things.
Yeah.
I do think we shouldn't have come in with a sot of. That would be my note. We shouldn't have come in with a sot of Brandon Staley, and started with something so grave.
Yeah, do a little more positive to get him going, warm him up.
Because you start with that feistiness, and then it's like, or if you start with that, not feisty, but defensive Brandon Staley, and then you kind of have to get in it. It just starts pretty grave. I think maybe if there was some levity there, I'd rather have done that.
Okay.
Going if we did it again.
Yeah.
So our parlay's up. Love to see it. I liked his message to Hittner. What did I say when you guys got in my ear about Antonio Pierce? What did I say? Damian Pierce? What did I say?
Yeah, Damian Pierce.
Thanks for correcting me.
Oh, good. It happens. Whitner gets pretty spicy. He's had a couple of moments this year, so I'm sure he's going to have something for Taylor tomorrow. Oh, yeah. He's had a couple of really spicy moments covering the Niners.
I think Taylor thinks it's funny that we in the morning meetings decide what he's going to say.
You hit that right on the head. We were prepared. Look through the whole Chargers coaching staff.
Yeah, trying to pick. I mean, is Kellen Moore the guy? It ended up being great with him though.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. All right, let's get to some of these games, shall we? Back on Up and Adams, Bears, Lions. That's where we want to start, guys. Let's start with the most exciting game of the afternoon. Detroit's like, we're going to erase this 12-point deficit with under 4 minutes to go. Yeah, we're going to pull off a miraculous win, and we're going to show you now Dan Campbell talking about his squad's resilience.
No, I actually went down there. I said, it just doesn't get any better than this. This is the moment this is what you want to be in right now. Game on the line, you got a chance to make the big stop, man, to win this game. And Hutch goes out there and makes the sack fumble of his life for a safety. I mean, that to me those are the moments, man, we're built for. That's how we have to think. And I mean, that was what it felt like when they took the field. This is why you play this game at this level, is for moments just like that. It was awesome.
I love him. I love that he gets the bright lights and the spotlight on Thursday for Thanksgiving, of course. Now, this Lions team continues to do this kind of stuff. It's special. It's inexplicable at a certain point. They turned the ball over 4 times, including 3 really bad Jared Goff interceptions. The defense, they were getting diced up by Justin Fields. DJ Moore, he scored. We told you he would all game long. this was on its way to be a horrendous loss for Detroit. And then that kneecap-biting son of a you-know-what just showed up. The tenacity of this squad. Game's on the line. They rip off 17 points. You just heard Coach talk about it. And it was less than 4 minutes. They buried the Bears offense to close it out. And I'm not knocking the Lions for this one being close. Of course, you can't play like this sloppily on a consistent basis and expect to win, but the Bears played well too. Fields looked awesome in his return. A lot of weird stuff can happen in these divisional matchups, so it's taken everything the Eagles have to beat the Commanders twice. It is part of the deal, and I'm really more impressed by the way this team finished them than concerned about the closeness of the situation. And by the way, thanks to that win, the Chiefs beat the Eagles tonight. If that happens, the Lions move into a tie atop the NFC with Philly for the #1 seed. So they're right there. Much easier schedule the rest of the way. Just something to think about. All right, let's keep these going. We got to head to LA, okay? Rams keeping their season alive by digging themselves out of a 13-zip hole. They beat the Seahawks. I couldn't believe this game. Let's first start with the coach of the Rams on his team's ability to find a way.
And I'm just so proud of this group. I think the grit was on display, the mental toughness, the ability to get stops, the ability to be able to feed off of one another. Man, there's a lot of things that we can learn from offensively. I think there's a lot of good things that we can build on defensively. But the way that they finish, that to me was key and critical.
Talk a lot about Matthew Stafford, one of the toughest players. Everyone tells me so. And he was clearly playing through some things. He took big shots throughout the game. He lost Cooper Kupp to an ankle injury. Puka, who is taking Instagram videos with Gunna after the game, famous Puka, he steps up again, 70 yards and a score. The defense held the Seahawks scoreless on 5 straight possessions to end this one. They're here. They're still here, and they're making it messy in the NFC West. For Seattle, this is a tough one to swallow. What happened? You had it under control until Geno was knocked out of the game with a bruised tricep. Fortunately, it does look like Geno's okay, and he came back in and got the Seahawks into position for, a shot at a field goal. But what happened in his absence sunk him. It really kind of showed me how great Geno is and what he means to that team. They're now a game back of the Niners at 6-4. Ooh, tight turnaround for Geno, by the way. They take the Niners on Thanksgiving night. So the Seahawks odds to win the West, by the way, they've dipped all the way to plus 700. But we can change that in a hurry. If they pull off a win on Thursday, which would at this point be a tough thing to imagine, they'll move right back into first place in the division. Maybe that turns some of that around. Okay, let's go to Buffalo. The Bills bounced back in a big way. Was it the Ken Dorsey effect? I don't know, but that was a demolishing 32-6 is not a cute score. Josh Allen, after the game, really gave a lot of credit to his team, their ability to sort of fight through it all.
Every season, man, has its ups and downs. You're gonna have adversity. It's how you bounce back from the adversity, and sometimes it takes a spark like this to ignite your team. I think back to a couple of years ago, we were 7-6, backs against the wall there too, and it's obviously slightly different this time around. But we've got guys that have been there before, and we just got to keep leaning on each other and. Like I said, keep taking it week by week.
Because it really does seem like the switch to Joe Brady sort of sparked the offense. The Jets' defense has made star quarterbacks look silly all year, from Mahomes to Jalen Hurts to Justin Herbert, Josh Allen himself back in week 1, as we can all remember. But Josh had really one of his best performances of the year yesterday. He finished with 275, 3 touchdowns on the day, best passer rating since week 4 against the Dolphins. And the offense did look different. There was sort of an emphasis to get the run game going more, which is something that I feel like we cry about weekly on the show. Yearly, if you ask me, just run the ball a little bit more, help a little bit more. But they had 38 runs to 32 passes. Most importantly, Josh Allen had just 5 of those rushing attempts. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. Brady didn't just dump everything on Josh's plate. And the Bills still very much alive, guys, in the AFC playoff picture. They are now just a half game back of the Steelers and the Texans for a wild card spot. So they're still a game and a half back of Miami in the division. They're getting plus 164 odds to make it make the playoffs right now over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys. Those are the next 3 on the schedule. So that is a bit wooftastic. All right, you guys tell me the games you want to talk about of an Adam show. I saw a lot Raiders-Dolphins talk, so let's head to Miami. Dolphins squeaked it out. Man, Antonio Pierce got his first loss as the interim head coach of that Raiders squad. Here's Mike McDaniel talking to his squad in the locker room after what was really a hard-fought victory.
Win team, and they took all 4 quarters to get knocked out. I'm so proud of this team because the way you guys approached it, the way the effort and the strain was, you guys played together, and I mean, literally our sidelines are a beautiful thing during the game because there's just focus and next play. The mindset is real.
It wasn't the cleanest game for Miami. They had 3 bad turnovers, not costly as far as the game's concerned. A missed field goal. They had some opportunity to sort of like take control of the game. They didn't. But isn't that what makes it like a very important win for Miami? Every single team in the NFL has games where things aren't clicking, but the really good ones find ways to win anyway. And that's sort of what the Dolphins showed us they could do yesterday. They didn't fold when it got tough. They didn't make excuses. We finally saw, this defense step up when they had to. Jalen Ramsey had some insane interceptions. Like, look at this one. What is this? As acrobatic as could be, and this one sealed the win. And maybe he can be the difference maker this defense has so needed over the last few years. We'll see. But look at that. I mean, I hope so. We'll see. The offense has to play better than it did yesterday. If the defense can play like this with these sort of sparks, we're watching this right now. You think they're not watching it, getting treatment, and they're going to watch game tape and meetings and stuff like that? That's not going to get that defense going. That's not going to give everybody a little more confidence. Yeah, it will. And I think that kind of stuff's going to get the Dolphins over the hump when it comes to taking out some of these top teams in the league. Making it, squeaking it out is great when you can do it. And it is interesting. The win vaults the Dolphins over the Ravens on FanDuel Sportsbook, which is a little shift that happened. We've got all these people monitoring what changes where, which is kind of fun. So they now have the second best odds to win the AFC at plus 420. Okay, big game tonight. There's a parlay. It's boosted. Go check it out. I think it should be on the carousel on the app, and it's an Up and Adams boost. So thanks to everybody at Up and Adams for putting it together. Hamilton has co-signed it. Taylor Lewan has co-signed it. Here it is. A.J. Brown, 50-plus receiving. Travis Kelce, 40-plus receiving. And Jalen Hurts, 25-plus rushing yards. A.J. Brown does this every week, of course. He's my pick for MVP. Travis Kelce has Taylor Swift's parents, and I still think Taylor Swift is flying in from South America for this one. She's got a jet. It's fine. She'll be there, and then she'll fly back. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow, where we'll have Dante Whitner on the show. We will have Daniel Jones on the show. Who am I missing? That might be it. Check our social feed. Bye, guys.